Hello everyone, welcome back to the part 2 of our conversation with the Vice President of Tridel, Wilson Chen. Wilson, so how are developers adjusting strategies in the current environment?
Yeah, I think what we need to go back to basic. In a good time to sometimes that because of fear of missing out, we may not actually have time to fully design and provide a product the market actually needs. But we are very fortunate that we insist of building a lot of like home-size home because we kind of anticipated, as I mentioned for the last episode, for the demographics. So the incoming demographic, like if you think about the aging baby boomer and Gen X, we do not look for just small size home. Now, just even the smaller size home doesn't mean that currently, obviously there's oversupply on that too. That doesn't mean that that market doesn't exist. It still exists, but we just happen to build a little bit too much of it. It's kind of structural before because one time we needed to build or sold 7 to 80% before we were able to start construction. So therefore, the product that be able to easily absorb into smaller home. We built a little bit too much on that too. But now that since the market it's slowed down a little bit too, we do have time to really design it properly. Now, organizations such as ourselves would now have an opportunity to truly demonstrate what it's the design feature, why the brand name is very important, why do you need to have a builder of experience, of integrity. In the crazy market a few years before, we don't have the opportunity to do that before we even have chance to showcase all the design features. People are just buying it. So people would consider a purchasing of a home just like a transaction. But I think one of the good thing about the market reset is now the purchaser have the well-deserved time to look at the investment or the home that they're purchasing with a lot more time, with a lot more choice. Now, it may not be just new home. It could be a resale. They can compare it properly, compare with different developer, compare with different feature. And same apply for a developer too. So we now have more time to design it properly. So if we find a certain product is good too, we enhance it. If it's certain location that we be add in a lot more feature too. And I think of all the negative that unfortunately you see in the market now too, the positive side is now that we have time to be able to demonstrate, I'll tell our story a little bit better. And then also at the same time too, we can hear about the purchase story a little bit better so that we can make a lot more informed decision collectively.
So we talk about the housing supply problem all the time. So looking ahead, 3 to 5 years, and how do you see housing supply evolve?
I think that's always our ongoing challenge because in Canada, one of the biggest challenges for supply is weather. Like unlike we all come from Asia, and then we basically build homes like 24/7 and 365 days a week if they wanted to. Because the weather challenge is not as severe as what we have here. The cost of construction and various different challenges to the complexity is always have inherently difficult to build. And with the current uncertainty too, a lot of developers hold back as well. So until such time that all the uncertainty is clear, we collectively build, we still inherit the supply problem, but I think the current market would even make this even more problematic. Yes, the construction's lower down a little bit too, but it's not to a level that it could make a difference. And with the fact that not many developers started construction, in the long run too, that could be a challenge.
So for the long-term investor, turn to 20 years, what principles matter most?
I think first and foremost is we have to make sure that again, we back to basic. When we purchase a home, the fundamental functions of a home, it's for you to enjoy, for your family to enjoy. One of the biggest attributes of buying real estate, and that's why in English we call it real. This is something that is really tangible, that you'll be able to feel and touch. Unlike any other investment, if you invest in stock, or cryptocurrency, or ETF, whatever it is, in a good time, obviously you make a lot of money. And in the worst scenario, the value become zero or maybe even negative, and then you won't be able to kind of feel and touch. That's the worst scenario. But in terms of the real estate, yes, the market can go up, which we experience, and market could go down. But the fundamental difference is, even if the price go down, granted, you still have a property that you can enjoy, or maybe perhaps your children can enjoy it, or maybe your friends and relatives can enjoy it. And it's the difference is the real property. So therefore, in our culture, this is always a fundamental, integral part of an investment. I'm not saying that everything you have to buy real estate, no, but if you do not, then it is always a good way to have it diversified. And especially in currently, if you are in the rental market, you wanted to kind of tap into home ownership too. Now that if you take a look at the market condition, before in a good market, you don't have time to review it because everything is fear of missing out if you don't make the decision, and then you lose the opportunity. You don't have time to kind of investigate a little bit more. You may not have choice because if you don't act upon it, it will be sold by others, and then when people competing, that will be a challenge. But fast forward to now, although we call it a lower market, but you think about it, fundamentally changes. Now all of a sudden you have time. You'll be able to compare to one of the major investment that you'll be able to do. Take your time. It could it be condominium? Could it be townhomes? Could that be a detached home? Now that you'll be able to compare. Even within the different category, that you'll be able to take a look at resale, you can compare with different developer and buy something for you. Not for somebody else. Like in the good time, one of the challenges, most of the decision making is a short-term gain for an investment. It is a feature, but it should not be the prime motive. So I think in the current market, my suggestion is to making sure that what it's the amount or what is the home that you feel comfortable, be able to afford it, and you have a certain needs, and human always have different needs of housing. Like if I'm first time buyer, it could be a condominium, could be a smaller home, and me, like I'm getting to that age very soon, that being an empty nester, I may not be able to conquer the stairs anymore. So focus on that particular needs. And the good news is Canadian developer and Canadian real estate offer you so many choices. Like way back when I was in Hong Kong, there was only one build form that I can afford, or maybe the only available is a condo apartment. But here you'll be able to have so many different choices. Even within the condominium community, I challenge the audience to go and explore. Now I'm not asking you to buy per se, but just to experience what is the design, the feature, the enjoyment that developers such as us to put into the condominium living. We call it smart sizing, right? Perhaps you'll be able to enjoy life a little bit more, especially after a couple of snowstorms. Like I cannot handle that. So if you live in condominium, it's totally different. And then perhaps sometimes you see some of the community overlooking the golf course, and then in one of the iconic locations, such as the Well, you'll be able to go downstairs and enjoy the culinary experience. There's a mall, and then you don't really need to leave too far, and then you'll be able to live, work, and play in the same location. So now that the most important attribute is you have time to kind of explore it. No, don't rush into decision. And there are so many professionals around, especially in 58home.com, a collection of all the professionals. You'll be able to ask them, challenge them to bring your family to go and experience it. Utilize this good opportunity for you to kind of explore real estate. If it is for you, go ahead. If it is for you, you don't need it to. And the good news is you now have time to do a lot more investigation, study before you make a decision to your investment. And in Canada, especially in Greater Toronto area, there's so many good professional, not just real estate professional, perhaps finance professional, insurance professional, and your other friends and family. Those are your key part of your key decision making. Before, you don't have time to do that. Now that you have the luxury, be able to kind of utilize this time to be able to explore real estate. If you be able to, if you be able to afford to do it, you have the needs to, you should make the move, because don't time the market. And another lesson that I learned is no one can time the market, not developer, not like economist. No one can time the market, but focus on what it's a real estate development means, what is a home means. The home is meant to be for you, your home enjoyment. Arguably, if you find your perfect home, even if you cost X and increase value to X or drop value to X, it's not relevant. It's priceless. It's your home, right? It's your family. And if it is for your son and daughter, even more important, because this will be their future home. So, and I think currently it's a good opportunity for you to explore. You not necessarily need to make the decision right away, but at least it's a good time for you to properly study the market based on your need and affordability.
So many retail investors focus heavily on short-term trend, and is that a common misconception?
It could be, unfortunately, because if you have some success story, people kind of amplified it, but it would not apply to all type of real estate portfolio. So again, as I mentioned earlier, purchasing home, the prime motive shouldn't be just investment. It's still a good investment per se, because a lot of challenge that we worry about inflation, right? So one of the attributes of purchasing not just condominium but any type of real estate is to be able to kind of hedge against inflation. So if your currency devaluate, whatever, if you have own a real property that you can enjoy, not only is priceless, but it's also for you to protect yourself against the inflation. So say for instance, you have $1 million today, and then something that I can almost assure you with the geopolitical event happen, your $1 million that you have may not worth $1 million, the same value of currency in the future. But if you own a home, doesn't mean that you're going to increase in value, but at least you protect X amount of value, and then at least you have a home and you have a roof that you'll be able to kind of take care of your family. So, and I think real estate always meant to be a longer term, and it will be a good way to diversify the portfolio. Don't use it too much as, like to your point about a short-term investment. It is still viable, but that it's also, now remember I tell you about the time, this will be also good time. Consult your accountant, financial planner, your friends, your relative, and then you'll be able to kind of make an informed decision now, because now that you have the luxury of time to be able to think about it clearly.
So do you have any advice for the young professionals entering the industry?
You mean as a career?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes. So I think real estate is quite diverse in terms of opportunity, because when a lot of people say, okay, well, would you like to be in real estate, automatically thinking about, oh, I want to be a real estate agent. Yes, that's the integral part of it. You know, helping a customer to find their home. It's noble, it's very important, but real estate also means so many different career path. Like say for me, yes, I'm in real estate, but I'm more in the developer side. And if you are to be involved in asset management, property management, there's opportunity. And then also included public sector and private sector as well, because there is so many opportunity even in the government position involved real estate. But all this, it needed to start by education. Okay, so if you want to understand about real estate, to ask around, real estate professional as an agent, that's a career, but also there's other career paths. So I'm also participate in Real Estate Institute of Canada. Way back, I was a national president in 2018. Those are the institute that you'll be able to kind of reach out to, because they will give you different ideas that you'll be able to kind of explore in this market, and not just education, but the networking that come along with it. it's great. And I think real estate always will be the integral part of the Canadian economy, and especially when we are immigrant country, we still have so much land mass that you'll be able to do. So in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of real estate transaction, development, and property management, assets management, there are so many ways that you can export. We now started for the Real Estate Institute of Canada, also work very closely with a lot of university. So I wish back then when I was taking my MBA, I had this type of discipline that I'd be able to go into real estate. I had to relearn real estate even after I get my MBA. But now that I think a lot of School of Business realize that. So even if you get a Master of Business Administration, if you want in real estate, that's a different field. So they are now working on Real Estate Institute of Canada, Canadian Real Estate Association, and all that too. Will give even the younger person a lot more career path. The most important tips is ask, right? So you can ask me, ask Grant, and ask. There's so many associations, and even the 58home.com, and then there's a lot of information there. So when you're interested in a certain thing, to ask, and you'll be able to have a lot of welcoming profession assisting you that. But I do think real estate is a very rewarding career.
So looking back, what decisions are you most proud of?
The most proud decision that I have is the fact that I start volunteering. That is totally different from when I first started studying real estate, business schools, and whatnot too. I think the volunteering helped me explore opportunity for different mentors and have me ability to meet a lot of different important mentors in my life. And then also, if you start volunteering, your mindset become different. You give first, and the fact that you want to contribute first, and sometime inadvertently will coming back to you. You help a person, and then when you help a person, you help an organization. There are so many things that you'll be able to learn from that too. And through that networking, I learned so many life skills professionally, in terms of development, in terms of education, in order, and then as well as corporate too. The experience and guidance I learned from the mentor through the volunteering is priceless. So I think that is one of the big difference of the career point that I have. I was fortunate enough, my earlier episode, to tell you that I met my mentor Cynthia Lai, late Cynthia Lai, and then she is the one who bring me to, like, say, Real Estate of Canada, Toronto Real Estate Board, and all that. Through this interaction, I find my breakthrough there, and I cannot even repeat so many mentors that I actually met through from the volunteering position. So that's something that if I have one thing to share, 100% encourage our audience, especially the younger generation, to volunteer. And not just need to be in real estate related, and perhaps e-hong, and perhaps Care First and all that too. It would be incredible that you'd be able to see so many executives have volunteered the time there too, and then you would be big opportunity for you to meet and interact with those person, and the life experience and the knowledge I learned from those mentors is tremendous.
Okay, so I have another interesting question. How do you personally manage uncertainty?
Stay positive. Okay, do not worry about something that you cannot control. Uncertainty is one of them. Okay, so if you cannot say, for instance, we cannot control what south of the border is saying. We cannot control the economy. But however, something that you can control is your mindset. And I do believe in every different market that you have to be able to deal with it. It's always a market. Like if you take a look at the Toronto Real Estate Board, some media read it very negatively. It's only 32 person that do transaction over 300 transaction for the entire Toronto Real Estate Board. It sounds to be a very, very negative. But I see it in a positive side. Like in such a difficult market, how would this 32 person manage to do 300 transactions or more. So that means it's doable. So if you say that, okay, there is 0 person that do 0 deal, I rest my case. But then if there is 32 of them, they be able to do so, there is still a market in such a difficult market. So again, it's one of the mentors that how to navigate the market to just stay positive. There's always a way. And do not worry about something that you cannot control. Okay, I worry about interest rate, you can. You cannot worry about the job market, you can. But what you can control is your mindset, how to deal with the negativity. And the positive mindset will help you navigate through this too. And also, as I mentioned earlier too, surround yourself by positive mindsets, mentors that have a lot of experience than you do. They will be able to give you solution to help you navigate through this market because they've seen it.
So, my question list is very long. The question can go long, on and on, but finally, any advice or any message you want to leave to our audience?
I wouldn't say that advice, I'm not qualified to do the advice, but then stay positive, and then also to, when you see a certain media, to do your own investigation. And I think I share with you, we were go for a break. While a lot of people describe it, it's a really negative market. My own daughter is actually looking for homes right now in Markham, and then if you just believe in the media, it will be very easy to acquire one because everybody wants to sell the home and everything, a big discount. Long story short, a typical link house, 900,000. I submit my offer, actually over asking price, and it's 9 people or 10 people bidding on it in this difficult market. And then now that it's, I think the price is 1.1 million. So it's not as negative as a lot of people think. Now, I'm not saying that you needed to be not worried about anything, but stay positive, ask the right question, just like how you asked me, and then surround yourself by mentors. Ask a lot of questions. Those are at least how to help me get through various different cycles.
So, Winson, how do you handle the noise from the different media?
Do your own research because you just don't believe in headline. And sometimes when people say it certainly too, sometimes you acquire it. Now, how you do your research, it's to ask the actual petitioner. So if you say, okay, the market is bad, and then all this, to go and ask the developer, go and ask the real estate agent. And I think you'll be able to always find a different angle. And I said earlier too, if I just finally believe in that too, and it's also one of the victims as well, right? If I were to believe, okay, sure, it's so easy to get it too. And I'm so glad I get my daughter advice to start early to wait for the last minute. Like, what do you do, right? So always there's an other side of it. Don't actually believe in the face value of what you hear about the media. I'm not saying the media is all wrong, but unfortunately human nature is to help you focus on the negativity. Focus on the basics. So, like, say, if you ask me, I still believe in long run. The basic, the basic information, like the future supply. So no one talk about the future supply. We have too much supplies. Yes, I 100% agree. Currently, future price. How about 2028? How about 2029? We'll be lucky if we have more than 3,000 homes for 7 million people, plus the immigrants. So those are the things that I would have a different angle to think about it. But also, you also need to have a cautionary mind to it too. But long story short is you have to do a different research and not just believe in the media, ask the petitioner. And at the end of the day, you really need to kind of act upon it until such time that you know that particular statement is true or not.
Okay.
As you mentioned, it's noise, and usually in what you do with noise, there's a feature in all this digital devices, noise canceling. Okay, so but the interesting question is, how do you know that it's noise, right? So to determine that, I think it's through education and through inquiring mind, and then a lot ask a lot of industry veterans of it too, so that you can make the conclusion. Media sometimes it's really focused on headline, and even honestly within the headline, and then you are a great journalist, you would know that when your headline sometimes really doesn't really mean the whole thing too. So like when you see the headline, so read the whole passage. That's number one. Okay, so don't just believe in the headline. Maybe they want to get the attention, but the underlying data or underlying thing is too good in the long run too. So how do I deal with it? Is through education, inquiring mind, to confirm what you're saying. But even if you confirm that particular headline is true too, everyone have different attributes or different requirement at a different time. So I would say to how to counter the noise, it's through clarity, through education, through inquiring mind, and then also ask a lot of other person. And most importantly, you experience it. So I use my daughter's example. If I just believe in a headline too, I would not know that there will be multiple offer in this particular market. Just happened last night. Right, so that's something that I find it over the years that how I be able to do, but stay positive.
Oh, Winson Chan, Vice President of Tridel.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing your journey and your insight with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay.